shtickle Torah here, a shtickle that it's not. It's the fact that it is sheer 231. Does Reish Lamed Aleph mean anything to anyone?
Let's see.
It's sheer Reish Lamed Aleph, and it talks about Reish Lamed Aleph Sha'arim in Sefer Yetzirah. Now, I mean, it's sheer 231. So how could I not just point out that Nakuda to start sheer? A good Sefer Yetzirah is definitely appreciated. I think it's interesting at least to learn a little bit about what those Reish Lamed Aleph are, just so we know that there's a concept. Beis Shammai Omrim. Beis Shammai said that you can't walk the ladder from nest to nest, but you can give it a little nudge, right? And so we spoke about the last few shiurim about the opinion of what's the argument Beis Shammai Beis Hillel exactly that you can't carry this ladder. We saw that there was a different opinions. Maybe it's the arguments in Rosh Hashanah, maybe it's in Rosh Hashanah. We have to clarify what ladder it is. Is he talking about any old ladder, or is he talking about a specific ladder that shows everyone that he's not using it to cement his roof? Now the Gemara is going to focus in on the Mateu Michalon Lechalon. You can nudge it, you can push it from window to window, from cubby to cubby, from nest to nest. Zok the Gemara, Alma, we see Alma Gabe Simchas Yantif Beis Shammai Lechumra Beis Hillel Lekula. When it comes to Simchas Yantif, Beis Shammai is Machmir and Beis Hillel is Mekel. So what do you mean Machmir? Beis Shammai is Machmir to have Simchas Yantif, or Beis Shammai is Machmir despite Simchas Yantif? It seems like oh, you did your nefesh. Shalom Aleichem. What? Clouds by? Unbelievable. I love it. Shalom Aleichem, Rav Yid.
Shalom Aleichem.
Oh, man, you did your nefesh. It's so good. Givaldic. Every time, bro. It's a fire name. All right. So we're going back into Gemara talking about nudging ladders. And so the Gemara says, so we see from the fact that Beis Shammai says you can push it from window to window, that Beis Shammai is, but you can't do it in Rosh Hashanah, and you can't even walk it, but you can nudge it. So we see that Beis Shammai, who seems to be more machmir over here, but he says Beis Shammai it says Gabe Simchas Yantif, Beis Shammai is going Lechumra, and Beis Hillel is going to Kula. So that's what we see. So do we mean going to Kula, going to Chumrah in Simchas Yantif, or going to Chumrah, going to Kula despite Simchas Yantif? That's the two ways that I could theoretically teach this. So let's blind and see more Gemara. Uraminu, I'll bring you a stira. Uraminu, I'll bring you a stira. Hashochet chayav ve'ov biyantif. Hashochet chayav ve'ov on yantif. Beis Shammai omrim yachfor b'deker v'yichaseh. So if you shecht the chayav ve'ov, the bird and it's an animal, but a chaya is what? Is a beast of chase. That's how Jastro touched it for us. Kila achar yad, beast of chase. Okay, so what's the difference? Chaya and behema, two differences that I could think of off the top. Is that a chaya needs kisoy hadam, a behema doesn't. You don't have to cover his blood. And a behema, the chalev is aser, but a chayev, the chalev is mutter. On the behema, it's kares, and on a chayev, I don't think there's any problem eating the chalev, but I'm not 100% sure. But here they're talking about it. They're talking about the idiot of kisoy hadam, because if you shecht the chaya and the opan yantif, Beis Shammai says yachfor bedeker, dig with the digger. By the way, decker, digger, I don't know. Dig with the decker, the chasa, and cover it. Beis Hillel, Beis Hillel says, Lo yishchon ela imkein hayalo afar mucha mibod yom. Don't shecht unless you had dust that was prepared from Erev Yantif already. Rabbi Yochanan. So wait. So here we have Beis Shammai, L'chora being Meikol, Simchas Yantiv. Okay, go dig. And Beis Hillel is being Machmir. No, don't do it unless you have prepared dust. Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Yochanan, Muchlef as Hashita. That no, flip it around. My asks the Gemara, why or how do you know? Dilma, maybe Adkan Loka Amri Beis Shammai Hasam. Until now, Beis Shammai did not say over there, Elahecha Deika Deker Noot. That's only talking about a case. Remember, if you remember a few dafim ago, we talked about this. That when Beis Shammai says dig the hole and cover it, he's only talking about a specific case where the shovel was stuck into the ground, which is how they used to keep shovels. People nowadays are like, oh, I went to Office Max and I got myself 2 shovel holders and I connected them to my wall. Back then, it's like, yo, go to the place where you keep your tools and you stick the shovel into the ground. So if you have that case, so you have a way that you can do kiso edam even if you forgot to prepare the dust erev yantif. But if there's no shovel stuck into the ground, the Beis Shammai would not say that you can just go and dig the hole in the first place. The reason, if I remember correctly, the reason that Dakar Notes was like it got away from it like take it away from being a malacha, because you already dislodged the dust, and so now you were just lifting it. But if you go in the first place to stick it in, so then it's like you're making a hole, and then we can talk about like the Gemara seems to say that that's us. I don't remember exactly. I think the reason they say is bona, that like, oh, it's like a building thing that like you gotta dig. It's Tolada of bona. Okay, but I'm blibing a little bit, No. Inami or Adkan Loka Amart Beis Hillel. Oh no, the difference is in Shita's Beis Hillel. Hacha Beis Hillel didn't say here. Ella Deshovcho Mochiach Alav. Beis Hillel, what? You think Beis Hillel is so makel? Right? We have one Mishnah or one. We have one Mishnah that says that Beis Shammai is Machmir by simchas yantif. We see Beis Hillel comes and is makel. And another place where Beis Hillel seems to be more machmir than Beis Shammai. That's the stira. First answer of the Gemara was, no, this is a specific case. The reason that Beis Shammai was makel, there was a specific case, is because it was dakar noitz. It was already stick it in. It was already stuck in, It was very into the ground already. Or maybe Beis Hillel, really Beis Hillel is always machmir, it's never makel for simchas yatef, except in this one specific case. So either we're changing Beis Shammai or we're changing Beis Hillel. Look at Beis Hillel, ela d'shovcho machelav. Really, Beis Hillel, the case of the shechting, the Beis Hillel says you have to have prepared dust. That's Beis Hillel's shita. He's machmir. Doesn't matter simchas yantif. He's machmir on muksa or on malachas on Shabbos rather, malachas and yantif. And so there's only. But what about our Mishnah that he's makel and says you can carry the ladder? That's because remember we're talking about a specific dovecoat ladder. And the dovecoat ladder shows that he's not just going to cement his roof. He's going to get some doves. And so therefore, Beis Hillel was makel in that one specific case. Avahasam low, but in the other cases, no. So those are two ways to answer up the stira. Ella ikashya ha-kashya. You know, they ask a question that was like, okay, like not a terrible question. It's not the worst stira that anyone's ever brought in the history of Gemara.
Amen.
So you want to ask a question, says the Gemara. Ikashya, ask this following question. You want to ask a question? I'll show you a question, says the Gemara. Oh, you want to ask a question? Shkaya. You want to ask a question? I'll show you a question. Beis Shammai Omrim, Beis Shammai says, Lo yito ela imkein na'aneya mi be'od yom. We saw this very long ago, and I think maybe we only saw a reference to it. But it's talking about do not take, it's like a table unless you shook it, but I'm blinding. Until now, I don't know anything what that Gemara is talking about, what this Beis Shammai is talking about. It happens to be a Beis Shammai, and Daf Yud. So we don't even know what it's talking about yet. We haven't seen it yet. Lo yito ela imkein na'aneya mi be'od yom. What? I don't even know pshat. Don't take unless you shook from mi be'od yom. What are you talking about? Lulav here? Yito lulav and na'aneya be'od yom? What? The Beis Hillel omrim, and Beis Hillel says omeid ve'omer. You stand and you say zeh v'zeh ani notel. I'm taking this, and I'm taking that. This and that. Taking this, I'm taking that. Zeh v'zeh ani notel. Alma, we see Gabe simchas yantif, Beis Shammai l'chumra, Beis Hillel l'kula. Uraminu, and we asked notice here, but wait a second, the Shochet Chayav V'of question, V'chulei. So the Gemara says like this, what? You're going to ask the stira from our case where it's not even a question because it's easy to answer up for Beis Hillel. They say that the case is different because the latter shows that he's going to the dovecoats. Ask from a different question. Don't take something unless you shook it from Erev Yatif. And Beis Hillel says you stand and you say, this and this I'm taking. So we see that Beis Shammai was Machmir and Beis Hillel was Meiko. From we asked the same stira. Wait a second, how's Beis Shammai Machmir, Beis Hillel Meiko? What about the case of Kisoy Adam? That we saw that Beis Shammai says do it. You do it when you have a ladder, a shovel stuck in the ground. Do it. You could check it even if you don't have prepared dust. And Beis Hillel says no, you have to have prepared dust, prepared dirt. So it's Beis Hillel being machmir, Beis Shammai being mekel. Says Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says muchlefes shita. Flip and reverse those two opinions. Vidilma lohi. Wait, maybe you don't have to. Maybe so. There's two answers. there's another way. Remember, we saw that you can change Beis Shammai or you can change Beis Hillel, but there's a third way. Remember the Rabbi Yochanan way. Yisrael Yahu Shalom Aleichem. So we have the third way and we have the second way. And we have the first way. The first way, changing Beis Shammai, changing understanding. The second way is understanding Beis Hillel. Third way is that, no, we're just going to just Muchlefes Hashita. We're just going to say, no. We're going to flip around. Beis Shammai is saying what Beis Hillel was saying. Beis Hillel was saying what Beis Shammai was saying. So that's the first suggestion. Oh, maybe we just flip one of the shitas. You say it's a contradiction. No. We just got it wrong. We just got them confused. Just flip it around. It's a weak answer. The Gemara doesn't like it either. That's why it gives two more answers. Muchlefes Hashita. The Dilmaloi, Ad God, maybe we don't have to flip the shita and like what? Like rewrite the Mishnah, rewrite the Beitzah. Ad God, Loka Amri Beis Shammai, Elahecha Diika Dakar Nods. Until now, Beis Shammai didn't say that it was Aser. No, it's the case of Dakar Nods. You're bringing me the contradiction of Beis Shammai being Makel in the case of Kisoy Adam, that he says you can shecht even if you don't have prepared dust. But we saw that was only in the specific case where he had the shovel already stuck into the ground. But if there's no Dakar Nods, then he would say no. Inami or Adkan Lo Kari Beis Hillel, or maybe we'll change it to Beis Hillel. Ela Kevan the muktzah who be'omed. The other is and he knows that he's saying, I'm taking this and I'm taking that. Sagi, it's enough. Avahazam low. But there, in other cases, no. So Gemara is like, okay, fine. So that stira didn't pan out either, that contradiction to ask. Ella ikashya hakashya. Yeah, you're going to ask a question. I'll show you a question. Beis Shammai Imrim. Beis Shammai says, "Ein notlin as ha'ali likatsev alav." Don't take the sheet or the leaf or the bleib shver to shecht on it or to butcher on it meat. To put the katsev alav basar, to like butcher meat. Beis Hillel matir. Beis Hillel said it was okay. Al magabe simchas yantef. We see that by simchas yantef, Beis Shammai is l'chomer Beis Hillel l'kula u'reminu hashochet chayev ha'opi yantef Beis Shammai v'chule. Same question. So we see Beis Hillel. We see Beis Shammai being machmer, Beis Hillel being mekel. But wait a second. What about the case of Kisoy Adam? Where Beis Hillel seems to be more machmir than Beis Shammai, seems to require that we have a higher degree of preparation before Yantif than Beis Shammai requires. Beis Shammai is like, oh, you don't have time, just stick your shovel into the ground. Beis Hillel is like, no, you have to have prepared dirt. Gabi Muchan. So in this case, also, whatever the case is, and we'll see it when we go over it with Rashi, but we see Beis Shammai's macher, Beis Hillel's mekel. Wait a second, what about the Kisoy Adam case? So, Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Muchlefes Hashita. Flip the shita. So the Gemara is going to again not be satisfied with that. Mimai, Del Maloi, maybe we don't have to flip the shita. Maybe we can explain why there's a discrepancy. Adkan, Loka Amri Beis Shammai Hasam, Ela Echa De'ika Dakarnot. Beis Shammai, you can always say the same differentiation. Say that, no, that's not Beis Shammai shita, just makel. Every time, every case for simchas yantiv. No, this was a case where specifically he had the shovel stuck into the ground. So that's Beis Shammai's case. But where there's no shovel stuck into the ground, he wouldn't say that you could just do it on yantiv, even for simchas yantiv. Inami or adkan lo ka'amri Beis Hillel hacha. Until now, Beis Shammai didn't say this here. Ella de'ika Torah's kliyalav. That's because this ali, this thing that you want to use to butcher meat on, right? Maybe like to like cut it or of some sort. I don't know. She's talking about shechting. They would say shechting, but it seems like after it's already shechted, you want to like still got to cut up the meat. Zalman can tell us that you can't make a giant cholent with one giant piece of meat. You got to have smaller pieces of meat. You got to cut them up. So the Avishter will give us siyata deshmaya to see weiter. Okay, so this plate has a Torah's kli alav. It's a vessel, aval but so that's why he's makel in yatif. Even though we saw so many cases of Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel being makel, right? We saw already 3, including the latter, including the meat one that was the latest one, and the middle one of Nanea Odiom, and then he says, you say this and that, and we're like, what? We're gonna see it all in Rashi. I just want to come to a place. So the Gemara says, no, that's not the question, right? There's a Torah's kli, so you can't ask from the question of the chef, of the meat chopper. If you want to ask this question, ask it like this. Beis Shammai says, Ein nosnin es haor lifti adorsan. You don't put the leather before, I don't know, a leather stretcher or a leather smoother. Veloyag bihenu, and you don't pick it up. Elaim gain yesh alav kazayis basar, unless it has a kazayis of flesh, of meat on it. The Beis Hillel matirin, and Beis Hillel was matir. Alma, we see that when it comes to simchas yantif, Beis Shammai is the chumrah, Beis Hillel is the gula. Uraminu, oh, I have a steer. I wonder what the steer is going to be. I wonder if it's going to be kisoy adam. Hashochet chayev of yantif, kisoy adam. Where Beis Shammai was the chumrah more lenient than Beis Hillel. Rabbi Yochanan just easily says, yeah, just flip it. Mechlefes shita, just say Beis Shammai was said, but Beis Hillel was saying, say Beis Hillel was saying, Beis Shammai was saying. The Gemara does not like that for the 5th time in a row. Get out of here with that cheap svara. I'm not going to say Rabbi Yochanan, I'm saying it's cheap svara. We have to understand why he keeps saying Mechlefes shita, right? Mimai asks the Gemara, how do we know? Dilma, maybe lowy, maybe you don't have to flip the shitas around. Adkan lo kari Beis Shammai, until here Beis Shammai didn't say Hasam over there. I wonder what he's going to say. Ella hecha deika dakar no, it's about hecha delega dakar no, it's low, right? Beis Shammai only said when you got stuck into the ground. Inami or Adkan lo kari Beis Hillel. No, Beis Hillel didn't say. He said only here Ella hacha Ella dechazi lemizda aluya. So what's this case about the skin? You can do something on it. He says over here he's makel because you can still like use it for something else. Maybe so it's not moksha avahasam, but in the other case, no. Ela ikasha akasha. If you're gonna ask that question, ikasha hakasha. Ask this question. If you're gonna ask that question, just ask this. The Gemara also is like already like using shorthand, like, all right, all right, what's going on? I think this we had 5 Gemaras already. Beis Shammai Oibrim ein misalkin as a trisin b'yantif. You cannot take the shields away on yantif, or maybe it has something to do with something else. Maybe the trisin is like some part of the house or something. You can't take it away on yantif. Beis Hillel matirin. Beis Hillel says you can. Even you can return it, right? What are these blinds or something? Like the shades? I don't know. We're gonna see this all in Rashi. We're gonna get more clarity, but basically it's the same lumdas going over and over and over. This is we have to count exactly how many it was. I think this is either 4 or 5 or 6. Right? Here. Oh, we see we see by Beis Shammai is my machmir, Beis Hillel is mekel or minu. Oh, I have a stira. Oh, it's kisay adam, shochet chayev, etc. Bishlema, finally, something new. Bishlema, I understand. Beis Shammai, Beis Shammai lokasha, that it wouldn't be a stira, Beis Shammai, Hassan, because over there, the Igadug are nuts. Over there, there's the the shovel stuck into the ground. Oh, the Gemara is saying the same thing, just in a tiny different way. There's nothing stuck in the ground. What does that mean? So I think that a possible shot is that Dakar notes is like he did a pu'ula before Yontif. He showed that like it wasn't that he didn't do anything before Yontif. He showed that he put it into the ground. He's not doing the complete malacha anymore. It's already been halfway done. So for simchas Yontif, Beis Shammai is like fine, but only when the malacha has already been done. But in every other case, Beis Shammai is going to be machmir. That's what it means. That over there was dakar nuts, there was a shovel stuck in the ground, and over here there was no shovel stuck in the ground. I mean, there was no there was no like beginning of the malacha that was before Shabbos or before Yontif that Beis Shammai should be machmir, meko for it. That's why he's only meko in that specific case of Akitzay Adam. Beis Hillel lokash, and it's not a stira Beis Hillel onto Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel, wait, it is a stira. Rabbi Yochanan, oh my God, Rabbi Yochanan, I bet he says Mukhlef is a shita. Rabbi Yochanan, Mukhlef is a shita. I felt it. Inami, or we could say a better shot, or a different shot. Rabbi Yochanan, first generation of my over here. Inami, Adkan, Loka, Amri, Beis Hillel, Hacha. Until here, Beis Hillel did not say this. Elam Mishum de'ein binyan bekalim ve'ein stira bekalim. Beis Hillel has a different case. In this case, he said because there's no binyan bekalim and there's no stira bekalim. Talking about the trisim, so he says no. The trisim is the case that's different, and so again we see that there's three ways to answer the machlokas or to answer the stira. One way is the Rabbi Yochanan way of just flip it out, just say that he's saying that, and he says that like 7 times. I don't know 6. But the other way is no, Beis Shammai is just saying different in this case because the shovel's into the ground already, so it's not a full malacha. And so he says if it's not a full malacha, simchas yantif overrides. Or you can explain why each one of these cases Beis Hillel is saying specifically different. Really, he's machmir, but he can find a reason in each one of these cases to say meko. Okay. By the way, that was up until the Mishnah. So I don't know if we're going to finish the Rashis today. We got 13 minutes, 32 seconds left. Maybe we should give us yats. But that was the Gemara. So Mirza Hashem, we're going to be zochet to a new Mishhuris by the end of the week. Maybe we'll give us yat to Dishmaya. Okay. You can take the ladder, you can nudge it, even according to Beis Shammai, you can nudge it from one nest, one cubby that has a nest in it to the next cubby in the dovecote, which is like a place with a lot of different like cubbies, kilu, and like the different doves or pigeons just go there and they make their nest. Okay. So let's see. The Heliga Rashi. Nothing yet. All right. So remember, Alma Gabe Simchas Yantiv. So when it comes to Simchas Yantiv, we see Beis Shammai is Machmir because he says don't carry the ladder, but you can nudge it. And Beis Hillel says no, even carry it. Uraminu, but now I'm going to ask this contradiction. I'm going to show you this one case where Beis Hillel was Machmir and Beis Shammai was Mekel when it has to do with covering the blood with the Kisei Hadam. Right? By the way, this is a Gemara in Daf Beis Amud Aleph. On the first page, we saw this Gemara. If you can remember that far back. crazy times. But we started duh. So if you shecht the chayav oaf, right, that you have to cover their blood on Yantif. Beis Shammai says you can do it. And Beis Hillel says you cannot do it. So, anyways, shochet chayav oif. So we see that Beis Shammai is more mako. So right? Beis Hillel says you have to have the prepared dust. So we see Rabbi Yochanan. Here's the first Rabbi Yochanan. The first time that Rabbi Yochanan is going to say, "Oh, muchlefes hashita." Let's see what Rashi says over here. Muchlefes hashita. He says, "Kan hochlefa shitasan v'tzarich lahafoch divreihem." Maybe Rabbi Yochanan, it's not like every time he's just like, oh, just change the shita, just change the shita, just change the shita. Maybe he's telling us, yo, I'm telling you guys that Mishnah where Beis Shammai is more makel than Beis Hillel about Kisoy Adam, that got confused. Really, Beis Shammai was machmer, Beis Hillel was makel. You guys making yourselves crazy. So that's this one shita that Rabbi Yochanan holds that B'chlef is a shita in this case. But yeah, because they keep on asking the question. He's like, that's going to be my answer for everything. Where they're like, well, maybe we can bring 5, 6 different answers to explain why Beis Hillel is different than every single one. Rabbi Yochanan's like, yo, Beis Shammai is always machmir. In this one case where it comes to be Meikon, you guys have a million different questions, have to say a million different things. Why don't you just Occam's razor it and say Muchlefes Hashita? Whereas like, no, because you can answer each one also with like a mahalach. Okay. So that's Rabbi Yochanan. He says, that's the Gemara Mimai. How do you know? Rashi, if he is looking inside. And by the way, now that we're on a computer, maybe I can even bring the daf of Gemara, like, and share screen. But not right this second, obviously. We have but I'm saying in the future. So the Rashi here, it says umi maidim muchlefes. Rashi adds that word. I'm just saying we have to just note it every time. Rashi is not exactly like the Gemara, or else someone would take pains in pointing it out every letter. Right. Umay kasha leila Rabbi Yochanan. Maybe Rabbi Yochanan. What forced Rabbi Yochanan to have to say that you have to change the Muchlefes Shita? Dilma, perhaps Taimayu de Beis Shammai hasa mishum deika dakarnoet. Maybe that one case is different. Beis Shammai is different because there is a shovel stuck into the ground. The lake inside Isser, therefore there's no Isser. Oh, Beis Shammai is being so mikkel, allowing something that's not usher to be done. So in that one case, by the Dakar knowledge. So you can answer that according to Beis Shammai. So that's one answer that works for every single one. For every single contradiction that we just asked, you can give one answer that, Muchlefes Hashita. You can give one answer that applies every single time. A second answer that applies every single time is, no, Beis Shammai is different in that case. There's no contradiction. Beis Shammai is different in that case because there's Dakar knowledge, stock. Or you can answer each one individually, the third answer, and the third answer is going to be different every time because we're going to say why Beis Hillel is saying differently in this case. So let's see. All right, they say Inami or Beis Hillel didn't say in the case of the latter. It's because Beis Hillel is saying this case is being mako because it's a specific dovecoat ladder. Aval hecha deleke dakar noet, so Rashi. The iketzar remez chafira. Rashi uses, Rav Ilson would love this. Rav Rashlovsky would love this. Like Rashi uses tzad remez chafira. There's a hint of digging. So lo sharu, they didn't permit it. If there's no shovel stuck from before Yatif, and even in really loose sand, Shehu Kichafor ve'omed. Dad, do you want to look up, or someone? I don't want to ask, but if someone want to look up, Afar Tachuach, to know exactly what type of, like the English, like what type of sand this is. Afar Tachuach. V'hachanami lo shana deha ika chashda de lehatiach gago. But here also, he was machmir in the case of the latter, because maybe someone's gonna think, oh yeah, he's using his dovecoat ladder to go make his roof nice. Okay.
Soft soil.
What?
Soft soil broken up by plowing or harrowing through charisha.
So it's already broken up soil. Gewaldig. Shkayach gadol. Shkayach gadol. So even in that case though, there's a remez. It's not really digging because it's already like soft. It's already like dug up and threshed. Yeah, but still, you're putting your shovel in and digging stuff out. There's a side of chafira, and so Beis Shammai says don't do it. And so Beis Shammai stims because Beis Shammai also by the ladder, when there's just a little bit of an isser, after all, he's carrying his dovecoat ladder, but still it's possible that you can use your dovecoat ladder to climb up on your roof and cement it. Therefore, Beis Shammai l'shita says aser. And that's how we answer the first question. So it's not a question. The Gemara is going to say, well, you want to ask that question? Let me give you another example where Beis Shammai is machmir. And the Gemara is just going to keep on going through this. And we have 4 minutes left. And Hashem, the Eibush will give us the Dishmaya. Ella, if you're going to ask the question like this. Beis Shammai says, don't take, and unless you shook from the audio, what do we, right? The Gazrim Mishum Katisha, right? In the Bay Katisha. Sometimes you're going to need to separate and to grind up the soil, and so therefore don't do it even if it's soft soil unless you have it stuck in. Okay. If you're going to ask a question stira in 2 Breisas or 2 Mishnahs or a Mishnah Breisa, Rabbi Yochanan that made Rabbi Yochanan say, oh, we got to switch up, we got to flip the shita. If you're going to ask what made Rabbi Yochanan have to switch up the shita, ask it from this question. Lo yito min agozlos beyondif. So don't take from the little chicks on yondif. Unless you shook it from before yondif. What does that mean? The lo sagi be'achana b'dibor. It's not enough to say hachana. Oh, I'm preparing myself. I'm gonna go and eat those. I'm gonna go and eat those chickens or those doves or those pigeons. It's not enough to just to say it. Kidimifarish lekaman, like it is explained later. The reason, like they're going to explain in the next page. We're gonna see it soon. Mir Hashem. Taima, the reason Dilma lemachar kishakul lehu chayes alayu imimlach, because maybe if he didn't shake it or like at least like pick it up and be like, yo, this I'm preparing for Yatif. Beis Shammai says you need it. Beis Hillel says you don't. Right? Beis Hillel says you just say zev zeh ninoto. This is the chick and that's the chick that I'm taking. So we see Beis Shammai is machmer, Beis Hillel is meiko. Urminu, but we have the stira. What about the Kisoy Adam case? Okay, again, 3 answers real quick. Rabbi Yochanan says flip the shitas. No, maybe we don't have to flip the shitas. Maybe it's just Beis Shammai saying different by the case of the Kisoy Adam, because you have the shovel stuck into the ground. But where there's no shovel stuck into the ground, no. Okay. Or you could say no, it's different because Beis Hillel says Geva the Mukza who Beis Hillel, the reason he's makel here is because it's Muksa who be'omed zevizeh aninot el sagi. Amahazam lo. And then we're going to say, okay, ask another question. We're going to finish here today on this stira. Lo yitav, right? If the say which one I'm going to take, because maybe he's not going to take it. They're going to explain the reasons later on in the next page. So all we have to see is it's similar to not having the ladder, right? Dilma Mimlach maybe he's gonna go back. He's not gonna want to. He's gonna forget to take it. The keva de Mimlach but la hazmana limafreya. The hazmana retroactively went away from it. Ella keva. So Beis Hillel says keva de mukzahi keva de eno aser ela mishum mukza. Since the Isra is only an Isra derabanan, it's okay. And so now share is over. And you hear that sound? That's amazing. Okay, well, we finished it with in the buzzer beater. We saw that the reason that Beis Hillel would say different in this case it was because only muktzah. So maybe Beis Hillel would say it would be makel only in this case. We're gonna go on Emir Hashem tomorrow. We're gonna finish these series of contradictions. And then Emir Hashem, we're going to end the week of Shir with another sweet Mishnah. Okay, Gevaldik. So shkoyach everyone for coming. And this might have been the biggest wartime ZOOMSHTEIG of all times, like in terms of like people coming. And I sent the notification 6 minutes before Shir. So shkoyach gadol, much love to everyone, and see you tomorrow. Maybe she'll give us the Shmaya. Did I stop it? I don't know how to end it. Rebbetzin, Kavin.